Hey professionals, SoFeya Sarah Joseph here, author of Choreography of Awakening, international speaker, former Olympic figure skating coach, and founder and creator of imagintlife, a revolutionary path to mastery of self that leads towards creation of your masterpiece, the life you were born to live according to your life's blueprint. Welcome to Professionals on Air podcast, a podcast where we discuss how to walk, talk, live, and grow authentically as a professional in the 21st century. It is my intention to bring you diverse and exciting speakers and prove that no matter where we come from and what we do, there are clear laws that work through us all that we can tap into to create what we desire. And today I have the pleasure and honor to introduce you to my amazing guest, all the way from London, Kylee Hurrell. Kylee is a former corporate attorney who transformed herself into business coach with a specialty in designing, building, and scaling businesses virtually from nothing. She is one of the founders of Threedom Coaches, a coaching platform that uses NLP, emotional intelligence, and business credentials to create unique business and mindset program for coaching budding business owners. Welcome, Kylie. Thank you so much for your generosity and gift of time and wisdom to share with us today. And
Oh, thank you. And thank you for such a wonderful introduction. That was lovely.
thank you. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how did you get started? You have this amazing story.
As your introduction said, I am one of the founders of the Threedom Coaches. There's three of us, and I've got two business partners, Dean and Jamie. And my background, as you said, is I originally started off my career in law, and I did leave law a few years back, and went over to more financial institutions and ended up in a hedge fund. And like Dean and Jamie, we met on a coaching course, but our paths were quite similar. That we'd been in our industries anywhere between 14 and 20 years, and we had stayed in jobs in order to do the sensible thing, in order to, pay the bills and to do the reliable thing of having a good salary coming in each month. But none of us were happy. We'd all got to the point that we were really lacking meaning and in our lives and fulfillment. And I took the decision to go back and retrain in something completely different to anything I'd ever done before. And I found coaching. I found a coaching accreditation that really spoke to me, and I joined. And through that, I met Dean and Jamie. And then we sort of carried on our educational journeys together by doing NLP and studying emotional intelligence. And we were all setting up our own individual coaching businesses. But through the friendship that we'd made and talking to each other, and we'd become quite good friends, and we're talking about our business ideas and how what we wanted to create in our own coaching companies. We kind of realized that we were all really singing off the same hymn sheet and all had the same ideas, and how we wanted to work with people, how we wanted to inspire people, what we wanted to see people achieve. So it became quite an easy, obvious conversation to have, actually, that, hang on, maybe we should work together here. Maybe there's some power in actually forming a company instead of all three of us being um, solo businesses. And if we form a company, there's some power there. We're a great support and that accountability for each other, and we can make something far more dynamic than what we could on our own. So that's how that came about. We'd all left our own industries. Mine was a corporate industry. Jamie had worked as a millwright for 22 years. Dean came from the yachting industry, and had been there for quite a few years. And as I say, we'd all got quite to a point where none of us were happy in our current careers. And it led us to a point of looking to retrain and explore something else. And I've been very fortunate with who I've met along my journey, and the company that we've been able to create subsequently.
That's quite a story. And you guys, you shared with me you're in three different countries.
Yeah.
So it's not just the business that you're running, you have to coordinate between different time zones and different cultures, and there's so many variables go into that. And to create a successful business, that's quite an accomplishment in that way.
It's 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 been something that's completely out of my comfort zone, in complete honesty with you. Um, I mean, a couple of years ago, if someone had said to me that I was going to leave my very comfortable 9 till 5 corporate job behind and I was going to take some risks and create my own company, but not just that, set it up with two people that I'd never physically met because our courses were online. So I'd never met Dean and Jamie in person. Um, these were all conversations that took place over Zoom, meetings. Um, that I would set up a business with two people that I'd never met that are in two different countries, and I would have never have thought of myself in that respect. I mean, that's taken some work on my behalf in terms of my mindset and what I wanted to achieve and what I thought I was capable of. And I think actually in some ways it's been really good because the challenges that have come up, you just have to plow through and find a way around them. We're in three different countries, but three different time zones, etc. But having said that, it also there's some absolute massive pros to that. One of them being that there's always one of us awake, so the company never sleeps. There's always someone on hand. So if any of our clients need us, we literally can provide a 24-hour service. And as I say, the
Oh,
company never
wow.
sleeps. So there's not many companies that also get to say that the company's alive 24 hours a day, every day.
Because being in different time zones, right? That you able
Yeah.
to offer that.
Yeah, and I mean, and for us, obviously, that's a unique selling point towards our clients, and that whatever the time is, there's always going to be one of us that's awake. And if there's something that comes up, we can certainly be there for you. But in terms of the actual company itself always moving and progressing, um, one of us is always awake and one of us is always working on something. So as I say, the company doesn't sleep.
That's really something. And to also coordinate your schedules and coordinate who's going to do what and how, and working also with the client at the same time, that requires quite a professionalism. And so my question is, what does professionalism mean to you?
For us, I think it would be communication, which I think lies in everything. But for us, how we communicate with each other, how we
Hmm.
express and how we share our expectations, the language that we're using. Um, Obviously, we're in the coaching industry anyway, and very much obviously talking about sort of mindset and rapport and communication as it is. So for us, our company has always been, we want our company to show the ethics and ethos that we would love other people to be able to have and adopt and be a part of. So that's always been really important. So our communication is really strong. I mean, not only do we talk quite regularly, but we we come to all our communications with each other with no ego. And I think that's really important.
Hmm.
So it doesn't matter whose idea it is or who said what or etc etc, or if someone else's thoughts or opinion or idea is actually the one that gets run with. There's no ego with any of us. That's left at the door. It's about what's in the best interest of the company and our clients. And I think that's been a really important part of who we are and what we wanted to build our company on.
So what I'm hearing you say, and you've said that a couple of times, no ego, no ego. It's important to be who we are, and that seems to be coming through quite a bit too when people bring professionalism into conversation. And between the three of you, each one of you have to show up with some specific strength.
Sure.
What is your strength that you're bringing in as a professional into your business?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that was one of the things that we always talk about, and that we always review as we're going along with any project or daily tasks. How are we playing to our strengths? There's three of us here, and we've all got particular strengths. Obviously, I come from a corporate background, so anything that's in terms of the actual sort of admin, compliance, legal, financial side of the company, I take care of. Um, I had as part of my corporate career at different times had the pleasure and the honour to speak in front of um, people, large amounts of people, and to be able to do presentations. So that's something that I wanted to carry on in our company. So in terms of speaking opportunities, that's usually something that I would pursue. Um, and then when it comes to our clients are involved with all three of us. Whatever program our client's doing, they have contact with all three of us. But again, we play to our strengths. I'm probably more in terms of time management and clarity and focus and emotional intelligence. And then other things would be left to Dean and Jamie. Like Dean's very, very creative. So in terms of our posting, in terms of our copy, in terms of any design, we create a lot of courses, for example, and we create courses for other people. So in terms of like the design of that, the advertising and marketing, like that's very much Dean's wheelhouse. Jamie has had a background in marketing, and he's just one of those people that you automatically feel so very comfortable with. And so in terms of customer base, client base, and our marketing for our company, that's very much Jamie's wheelhouse. So we've all got our strengths. We all pitch in on certain things. So we all have a hand with every single client and spend time with them. Whatever course we're doing, we all have a part in the content and design, but one person will have more of a lead on a particular aspect of, for example, the company or a project.
So also with each of you not only comes with strength but comes with weaknesses as well.
Sure.
What is your biggest weakness as a professional?
The one thing that I'm not used to, because I've had so many years of training in one way, and my brain is quite thinks in a particular way, is in terms of writing. You give me something practical, you get me to write a contract, or for example, if you're talking about now in coaching realms, you get me to write out, practical steps, what people want to do. I come into my own, like that's my strength in terms of writing. However, a large part of this, you really need to be able to tap into emotion, and you need to be able to write in a very different style to what I'm used to. And that's where Dean absolutely flourishes. He's got several, I think it's up to 12 now, published works of writing. He's very creative. He loves writing stories, and he can really tap into a fictional type of writing, but also relevant writing, but that's very emotional and really can like resonate and get into people's pain points. And it's like he writes something and it's like he's known you all your life, and he's talking directly to you. And I do not have that style of writing in me. That's not who I am. I'm a very different type of, as I say, right. So we've got our wheelhouses, because in terms of copy for our own company, we split that. So anything that needs a bit more creativity would go to Dean. Anything that's far more practical would come to me. So we play to our strengths and our weaknesses,
So you're
because
not
I mean,
dealing with your weakness. You're just
yeah.
delegating it to knowing, being what I'm hearing, like having the awareness of what the weakness is, so that you can delegate that weakness to someone with strength.
And we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and and I'm very fortunate that I'm in a company situation where I can play to my strengths, and so can my partners. And thankfully, because there's three of us, those weaknesses are usually someone else's strength, as it's worked out. So we can play to it, and we can, and there's times obviously where we do have to step up to the plate. We can't completely shun that particular responsibility, but the nicety of that is that you've then got someone that you can talk to and you can brainstorm with, and that can be a guide, and you can have those types of conversations with, I'm struggling with this, and what would you do? How would you approach this? Can you give me some tips of how? So it's quite nice to be able to very openly have those sort of conversations as well.
Well, I do see the logo behind you and having those circles and these things that are kind of floating, three things kind of like floating around. And it really speaks in what you're saying, kind of like having also that 360 view, perhaps, between the three of you. That's, yeah,
No,
does
and
that resonate?
that's exactly it. I mean, as I say, we're in a very fortunate position where having three of us, and I think our clients would say this. I mean, it's definitely something that comes up time and time again. The beauty of having the three of us on their journey is that they dip into all three of us. They know where they want to go for a particular conversation or a particular idea or a particular project, and they use all three of us. And we very much encourage that. Like, you go to Dean for this, you go to Jamie for that, Kylee for this, and use us for what we're good at and our strengths now. And also in terms of coaching, we have very different approaches to how we would handle a session. So with the three of us, you can kind of get the benefit of it not just being one dimensional, and it's not just about that one coach and how they think that session should go and what you need to get out of that you've got three ideas there. And for some that might sound quite overwhelming, but it's managed in a way where actually the client gets to utilize that to the best of their situation, and that it's
So
not
are you
overwhelming.
saying like when you're in a coaching session with the client, all three of you working with client at the same time?
Not always. We do, like, in terms of an initial introduction, we do usually all three of us turn up so that you get a taste of how I talk. How, we talk differently. We've got different ways of wording things. A client comes out with a problem, and all three of us have got different ideas about, right, how we can handle this. And obviously we would go away and brainstorm and then come up with a master plan. But you also find that the client then sort of tends to dip in and out of all three of us for certain aspects, and that they would go to us for different types of conversations. And Jamie's very much, as I say, like, he's the action taker, for example, amongst us. Dean's very much more about mindset, and is I mean, I use NLP, and I'm an NLP master practitioner, but it's a way of life for Dean. Um, I'm more probably into my emotional intelligence, and I'm probably again a bit more corporate because of my background in terms of looking at our time management and our clarity and keeping that focus. So as I say, the clients get to know us and get to know what they want to use us for and where we will benefit them. I mean, we target all clients together, and whatever individual sessions we might have with clients, we go back. The clients know this, obviously it's in their contracts. Dean and Jamie and I talk amongst us, and we might create a bit of a master plan, because we like to make sure that we're giving our clients an all-round experience. So client might have a particular challenge coming up, and how I approach it would be different to the way Dean and Jamie would. So between the three of us, we'll have a conversation and we'll come up with a master plan with what we think is the best way forward. And obviously that's then an option that we'll put to the client.
Kylee, what would you, is there like a specific lesson or advice that stuck with you that you would want to share with the professionals, with our audience?
I think it's not the most obvious advice, actually, that you might think of, but it's the one piece of advice that actually changed my life and got me thinking in a different manner. And I had my own coach before I entered this world of the coaching industry myself. And at the time, I was still in my corporate job, and was talking about how I saw things going forward. And I wasn't in a great headspace at the time, and I was painting a very doom and gloomy picture for her. And she said to me, "You're without a purpose, Kylee. You've got no purpose in your life. And for someone like you," and she said, and for most of us, to be honest, she said, "to be without purpose is a great big hole. It's massive." And she said, "and until you go out and figure out what earth your purpose is in this world," she said, "you're going to continue to feel like this. You're going to continue to feel empty, and that none of it really means anything." And I didn't really know what to do with that when she first said it. It seemed so generic and a bit wishy-washy. But there was something about it that struck me. And I think because she was generally speaking to me, I did feel really empty. And I sat with that conversation and those words for a few days. And those words are what finally got me to do something. And I sat down one evening. It sounds silly, but I get some of my clients to do it now. I sat down one evening and I just made this absolutely brutal assessment of who I was, my strengths, my weaknesses, what I wanted in life, where I was going. Did that match up with the dream and the visions and the things that I wanted? What things were important for me? And that list provided me with two things: that communication and people were really important to me, and seeing other people thrive was important to me, both of which were lacking from my current job at the time. And I didn't really know what that meant. I just had these two very generic sentences in front of me, and I didn't really know what to do with it. But I sat with them, and I did some research. I spoke to some career advisors, looked at different courses, and I kind of found coaching and realized that actually there was something within this industry that I could use my current skills, my corporate skills. I could use my own personality traits, the things that make up Kylee. I could go get new skills, and I could do something that was going to give me that daily communication with a variety of different people that I was yearning for. And that with doing that, I could help and be a tiny part of seeing other people do some wonderful, just beautiful things with their lives and be part of their success. And it was from that conversation with my coach that
Mm.
told me to go find my purpose. And as to say, at the time, I thought, well, that's a very general thing to say. I was a bit miffed with her, actually, if I'm completely honest with you. I thought, what am I meant to do with that? But I sat with it, and it led me somewhere.
Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for your honesty and vulnerability as you were sharing this hero's journey that you really took in that moment. And it was wonderful to experience you processing it and seeing it and kind of like going back. And I think it was wonderful for the audience to actually see you in that way, like being this authentic, real person who had the struggle and had to find this way out of this shadow, out of this darkness, and find the light and purpose of what she wanted to do. And I think a lot of people will resonate to the message that you just shared.
Thank you.
And Kylie, what is one thing that has you really fired up right now?
Um, so we work with people to launch their own businesses. People that are predominantly sort of maybe in the 9 to 5 sort of industry and have been a bit fearful of taking that step. You know, it's a big step launching your own company and going from the security of a regular paycheck and all the things that come with being employed. Um, and we're in the process that we've really seen some clients in the last 3 months or so just absolutely rock it, and they have literally achieved the most wonderful businesses and are thriving and are scaling up, and they've created it from nothing, and they've done it through determination and grit and their own hard work. And I just come off a client call actually with someone, and she's done that. She's creating her little empire, and it just to see that. And when you come off those type of calls and you met the client at the beginning of their journey when these were just vague thoughts, and then to see in such a short space of time, this client, for example, she's been working on this project for about 4 or 5 months. What she's achieved is incredible. And then her vision for 2022 and the resources and the connections that she's making and what's going to come out of that. Um, that's why that puts a massive smile on my face. That's why I do what I do now, and I get to go to bed feeling like it's been a good day. I've done something really positive, and that's why I want to get up in the morning, and that's what fires me to get up in the morning and want to repeat the process all over again. It's the most incredible feeling seeing these people just achieve the most wonderful successes. And I'm lucky enough to be a part of their journey, but it's all down to their grit and their determination and their hard work. And to see someone achieve something amazing from nothing is it's there's no greater gift. I love it.
That really is a gift of coaching. You know, that's when used to coach competitive figure skating, and that's kind of like the thing, right? You take this 5-year-old kid, for example, who just can't stand up and they don't know how to move, and then you take them through the levels, and now they're like competing among the best in the world, and you know you took them through that journey. I mean, what can be really more fulfilling than having being a part of that journey of the person who's struggling, who starts with nothing, they're scared and insecure, and to see them succeed and know that you were part of it, that you have contributed to that. It's truly
Oh,
amazing.
It really is, and to see them change their lives, and then the lives around them, and then to hear their clients and their customer stories and the feedback they're getting, and there's this butterfly effect. Obviously, there's this greatness and this value that's then going out to their clients and potentially then their clients. And these are obviously people you're never going to meet and you're never going to share in their stories, but to know that a seed of good that you've done and how that can trigger this effect all the way down and the other people's lives that can benefit and that are going to get some value. um I love that, and as I say, and again, that's about putting ego to the side, because I don't need to hear these, see these people or hear them, but just to know that there's that capability of the the good that you put into your clients and seeing them achieve and seeing the confidence sort of in them to be able to go on and do X, Y, and Z, and then how that's going to benefit
Mhm.
other people. That's I mean, it's nice being paid, don't get me wrong, but that's payment in itself.
Kylie, imagine that your name changed today and you're no longer called Kylie, and you have to choose a new name out of these four: support, trust, courage, or passion. Which of these names would you choose? And what would change in your life as a result?
I think I would go with support.
Hmm.
The Don't get me wrong, the others are extraordinarily important elements, but obviously there's always going to be one that speaks to someone more than the other. And for me, being around people that support each other, and therefore you've got people where you can rely on them to get you through the hard times, to help you through those challenges, to triumph in your wins, can share information with and learn from, um, is one of the most valuable elements in my life, and something that I wouldn't want to be without, and something that I want to um, grow and nurture even more in our own company, in terms of silly things out, our Facebook community, and making sure that that's even more supportive and connecting than what it already is.
So, yeah.
And
So now your
yeah,
name is support, and you can embody that. And what would change?
what would change? Um, I obviously that being a more daily practice and becoming more of a daily, it would be a daily, hourly habit pattern behavior. So that increase on my behavior.
Cheers for that. All right. Well, I have a question for the audience now. So imagine
Okay.
that your name changed today and you have to choose a new name out of these four: support, trust, courage, or passion. Which of these names would you choose and what would change in your life as a result? Write your chosen word in the comments or send me a direct message to receive the gift from me. And Kylie, thank you so much for this great interview, for your authenticity and courage to share, just being who you are, being the support that you are to your colleagues, to people that you serve. and to the audience that you have shared yourself and your energy with today. So I dearly want to thank you for that very much. And I know that it was a great contribution and that the audience have benefited from your sharing as well. Tell us where people can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the company name is the Threedom Coaches, and Threedom is spelled Threedom.
And you see it on the screen now
You can
too.
see it on the screen. We can be found at www.thethreedomcoaches.com, but you can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram if you look for the Threedom Coaches.
All right, and we're going to post the links at the bottom as well. All right, professionals, thank you so much for tuning in to our show, the Professionals on Air podcast, a podcast where we discuss how to walk, talk, live, and grow authentically as a professional in 21st century. 22nd year of the 21st century. Woo! And to receive a free gift from me, please send me a direct message. And to learn more about Kylie and her partners and the Threedom coaching, visit her website, and the link is going to be in the comments. We appreciate all your comments and feedback and can't wait to see you next Wednesday, where I will introduce you to Andrea Mason, an accountability coach with unique approach. As always, send us your questions. Ciao!
Bye bye.